Wherever you look in modern Western society, you find our love for mysteries shown to us in dramatic form. Whether you go to the movies, whether you visit a bookstore, mystery is a big business. Look on the television. In the 1990s, The X-Files was all the rage. Now it's 24. Successful television series built around the idea of vast, elaborate conspiracies aimed at deceiving people. Fiction's one thing, of course, fact is quite another. If you go and look up books or look up the internet on the assassination of John F. Kennedy or the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, you'll find elaborate conspiracies being woven around those two events as well. You know, many of us now have steady jobs, plenty of food. We're not working to survive anymore. We're working to provide ourselves with excess, with things that we don't need. I think that's led to a general boredom in life. Look at the amount of money that's spent on the entertainment industry. Indicates dramatically what we consider to be important today. Why do we consider entertainment to be important? Because our lives are so humdrum. We have so much time on our hands, not spent trying to survive, trying to fill in our lives with meaning. There is nothing that injects excitement into a life more than a mystery, a bit of conspiracy. I think a number of things have taken place in modern society. One of them is an increasing feeling of powerlessness. We all have a vote, we elect governments, and yet it doesn't seem to matter who's in power. Life goes on much the same. Whether it's a left-wing government or a right-wing government, they seem to make very little difference. The lives we lead are impacted by forces beyond our control. Interest rates, the price of oil. These are things that determine the way we live, over which we have very, very little control. And that has left many people feeling impotent and powerless in the face of these massive worldwide forces. On the other hand, the advent of mass media, paparazzi, the exposure of those in positions of authority to continuous media gaze has shown how often power has been used by those who wield it for abusive ends. Frequently governments do not act in the best interest of the people. They act in their own best interests. They line their own pockets. They use their power for corrupt purposes. I think in this context, conspiracy theories do two things. On the one hand, they help us to explain or to rationalize our powerlessness. They allow us to understand why we feel so powerless in the face of these forces. On the second strand is, in a peculiar way, they make us feel important. We're no longer the victims of impersonal forces. We're no longer merely cogs in a machine. But there are people out there conspiring to get us. Conspiring to get us because we are important. We may be powerless, but we're significant. We're significant enough for somebody to want to conspire against. I think the Da Vinci Code taps into a long tradition of targeting the church as a centre of conspiracy theories. And there are a number of reasons why the church, particularly the Catholic Church, has been vulnerable to that. On the one hand, the church of all organisations has preached a message of peace and humility, and has frequently failed to live up to that in the way that it has wielded its power, abused people, not acted as it should do in a manner of a servant. On another level, I think particularly the Catholic Church suffers from the fact that it is made up of a lot of religious orders that appear to the outsider to be quite medieval in the way they present themselves and quite secretive in the way they carry on their business. So I think the whiff of corruption combined with the secrecy and the arcane aesthetics makes the church a very fertile ground for conspiracy theorists.